Hello, and welcome to another Heroes Journventure episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Catherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for over 5 years.
Yeah.
And I am a Tiny Habit certified coach,
Ooh.
a Thrive Global certified coach.
Wow.
I have a podcast with my delightful co-host,
Husband Donald
Hello.
Weigel. And also, you are one of my heroes. I just want you, speaking of heroes' journeys, I have, going back to me for a second, I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for about 5 years, and we're here to talk about it.
We sure are.
Together we form We Only Look Thin.
Dun, 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 dun. Now, is that, yeah, I guess that's, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know where you were going with that.
I went dun da da da, and then I thought Imperial Margarine because that's what the song the thing for
and
Imperial Margarine
because
was.
margarine is never far from your thoughts. Let's
never.
be honest.
No, it
Let's
melts
be honest. Margarine,
like
butter. You know what? I am someone who can believe that it's not butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't miss a trick.
Yeah.
But
I stole that from somebody on Twitter. Tweeted that. I saw
can
it
believe
recently.
it's not
Yeah.
butter.
You know what? What separates me from other people is that I can believe it's not butter.
there was one about not Falco. What was his name? Enya, Fenya? No, the guy who was in the I can't believe it's not butter. Fabio.
Oh, Fabio!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like man has
Enya, Falco, and Fabio.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like you had one job, but it was like, just believe it's not butter. And he couldn't do it. So, hello, you can't believe you're listening to a professional podcast, can you, people of Earth?
No, you certainly can't.
But today, we are also talking to people of Middle Earth.
Oh,
In the middle
what?
of their journventures.
Oh,
It's
I
like-
see what you did there.
It's like the middle episode of Lord of the Rings. It was an episode, right?
Yeah, middle episode.
Middle episode of
it
Lord
was
of the
a movie
Rings.
called The Two Towers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers that. They just remember Hobbits and how much they like
No one
food.
remembers it except I just remembered it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you're somebody.
Yeah.
But we are taking this opportunity not only to frustrate you with not understanding what this episode is about, but we're taking this opportunity to go back to our listener questions from our very own Instagram page.
Yeah. Now, we, and I use the term we lightly because Catherine did all the work, reached out to our listeners on Instagram and Facebook.
I joined the conversation.
Oh, you did.
I made the conversation.
Yeah, and asked people to give us episode topics or questions, things that they would like us to do episodes on, and we got many lovely responses, and this is the second of those.
Yeah.
We're going to dive in, and this one was from Instagram again.
It is
just like last week.
From Inspiration WOLT Chum
UNR Meg 52. I don't know if that is like
Unermeg 52?
Unermeg, yeah.
Unermeg, I don't know.
Yeah, Unar Meg 52. We'll just call her Megan.
Yeah, Megan. I think that's her name. But Megan asked...
It could be Megathon, though.
Megathon.
Megatron?
Megatron?
What if it's from Megatron?
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it
We're still
would
not
be.
really sure that it isn't all just bots from the internet leaving us questions, but we're happy to receive them in whatever, if you're a real human or if you're a bot, it's fine.
Yeah, look, robots need love too, and they need health and fitness advice too. A lot of people don't realize this.
Yeah, they've got a heart. But speaking of who is the most famous robot, actually, it wasn't a robot, it was a Tin Man. Is that the same thing as a robot?
Sure.
Okay, so there was a movie called...
The Wizard of Oz?
Okay, I
with
was
the
going to
Tin
say
Man?
Alice in Wonderland.
That's a different sort of Tin Man, but
okay,
sure.
but like the Tin Man is on a journventure with
A Cowardly Lion.
the Cowardly Lion, Dorothy. I was going to say Megan,
The Scarecrow.
and they're going to Oz.
Megan and Toto and the Scarecrow, and yeah.
And they're going to Oz to meet the great and mystical and wonderful Oz, and they're going to get all the things and the dreams that they want at the end of the rainbow and at the end of the golden ticket or whatever it is at the end.
Yeah. They open a chocolate bar and there's a golden ticket in it, and they get to tour the factory.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound that good.
And then they get attacked by flying monkeys.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But they're all part of the hero's journey. And Megan is thinking to herself right now, I asked a very simple question and they are making it very complicated. What does this have to do with me? So I think Donald actually wrote down what her actual question was.
Yeah, her actual question was, Dear Donald and Catherine, what do I do if I get attacked by giant monkeys while hanging out with a scarecrow and a tin man for some reason? No, her actual question. Wait, no, that wasn't her actual question. Oh, Donald, you kill me. The actual question was, have you done an episode about being in the middle of the adventure? That's where I am at now, and I want to hear insights about the long slog of it all. I'd also like to hear more about times you both stumbled, fell down in your weight loss adventures.
Yeah, so Donald actually quoted himself by saying something really profound, and then he told me about it, and he's going to tell you what it is right now.
Yeah, so I think the question itself reveals an issue, and the issue has to do with using the word slog in the middle of it.
And I actually love it when people write things down with their questions or concerns, because it really does give a lot of insight to perspective, or at least on that particular day of how people are feeling. And using that word slog that's a heavy word.
Yeah, that reveals your cards. Like if we were detectives looking for someone in this house is the murderer, and they use the word slog, it would be an aha moment.
That's a Columbo callback.
Yeah, exactly.
But I went on the interweb and opened my dictionary, my thesaurus dictionary, and looked up synonyms for slog. That's right, slog synonyms. Toil, drudge, hustle, plod, strain, trudge, scrabble, buckle down, and travail. Those are all bummer words, huh, Donald?
Absolutely.
That doesn't sound like a super fun time.
But however, Slog Synonyms is a great name for a band.
Yeah.
We need to write that down.
Exactly. But I'm going to now reveal to you the antonyms. So here we go.
Antonyms, yes.
Yeah. Jaunt, journventure. I added that one. Trek, walkabout, cruise. Peregrination.
Oh,
what? That's fun.
Peregrination.
Peregrine falcons fly really far, so peregrination.
Yeah.
A quest, a pilgrimage, an odyssey, or an expedition. I think those are all kinds of Toyota trucks also.
Yeah, so if you're in a Toyota peregrination, a peregrination, which I looked up after specifically, was a journey, especially a long and meandering one. So, we are all on a health and fitness peregrination.
Right. Can you imagine if Homer, instead of writing the Odyssey, wrote the Homer's Buckle Down, or
Homer's Slog,
or Toil, or Trudge, or Strain? That doesn't sound like a hero's journey. And I think we might have spent more time coming up with potential titles for the episode than we did actual content for the episode. But
don't tell people that.
But I thought about Middle Earth and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the middle feels really hard, right? Yeah. That's like I hate that movie because at the end, nothing, you don't get any resolution.
Yeah, most trilogies too. The middle movie, they can end with an all is lost moment, and you don't have to have an uplift at the beginning because you're sort of still in the middle.
Right, like when Luke Skywalker, spoiler alert, cover your ears if you haven't watched it yet. But
if you haven't seen Empire Strikes Back from 1983 or 81.
Gosh, literally the best movie of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, at the end, he finds out that his dad is not a great guy, and his dad, I think, chops his own hand off.
Yeah, his dad does cut his hand off at the end of that movie.
Yeah, which is a way bummer way to end. I was incredulous.
My dad has done a lot of things, but he's never chopped my hand off.
But Empire Strikes Back is a really great movie. But it's in the middle, and it feels like, okay, well, you got to get through that part to get to the end part, and then we'll really find out what happens. But as we learned with Star Wars, there's no beginning and there's no end. There's prequels. There's new universes that we find. There's movies that happen after that.
Yeah,
that
they're
don't
still
even
putting out
include
TV shows about Star Wars.
Right. So this is a very long and circuitous and peregrinaceous, is that a word?
No.
Way of saying that there's no middle. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do.
Yeah, and one of our classic episodes,
Classic.
one of the things that we like to say, I feel like I can say classic now because, we did episodes 5 years ago. Episode 23, There Is No Finish Line, which is a saying that I believe I first heard from Half Size Me, which is another podcast. And it is the idea that there really is no middle because there isn't really an end.
Yeah.
And, once I hit my fitness goal, so to speak, I didn't just then stop. There wasn't some, ticker tape parade where I was done and I was over and I was able to go back to the way things were. I had to keep going and keep doing the same things because when I don't, and believe me, there have been times when I haven't kept up with it, the weight comes back on.
Yeah. And so a lot of this, I think we live in a world where everything feels like a movie. It should have a beginning and a middle and, a perilous, fight with a dragon or something. And then the credits roll and then it's over. And I think we can think about that with our weight loss journeys as well of and there's there's something called the hero's journey. And it talks about sort of that beginning of the quest, finding a mentor, having to figure out who your friends and your enemies are and going through giant battles and then, winning in the end and returning home and living, in your new world. So many movies cover that hero's journey, whether it's Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or Dude, Where Is My Car? They are on journeys.
Classic hero's journey.
An end. And when we think about getting to our goal weight as the end, we have bad news for you.
Yeah, I spent many years with the idea that I was going to go on a diet for a while until I hit my goal, and then it was going to be over, and I was going to go back to eating however I wanted. And every time I did that, the weight came roaring back on. And so I had to adjust to the idea that I wasn't just trying to hit a weight goal, but I was trying to change my lifestyle and really not just be a person on a diet trying to lose weight, but really try and be a healthy and fit person and do what that person was going to do and have a lifestyle around what that person did and does.
Exactly. And I think, too, when we see those big before and after photos or stories, we think that that is the end of the person's journey who lost the 50 pounds or the 100 pounds or trained for the marathon or the fitness competition.
Yeah.
And really, it is just a snapshot of a part of a bigger life. And in the end, we are actually focusing on that bigger life.
And, part of this has to do with whether you look at this situation as the glass being half empty or the glass being half full. And on the one hand, you could look at it and say, there is no finish line. Oh my goodness, that means this is never going to be over. But for me, it was really freeing because it allowed me to kind of take my time and really develop my plan to fit my lifestyle and really nudge myself towards the fitness and health lifestyle so that I wasn't just having to dramatically change everything overnight and I wasn't having to dramatically just, cut out all of the foods I loved and do nothing but exercise with the idea that I was going to just white knuckle and struggle until I hit a goal. It really allowed me to kind of gently add habits one at a time and do this for the long haul.
Yeah. And to sort of go back to the beginning, I know we sort of poked fun at the use of the word slog, but I think so much of this is really about kind of that long view that isn't super sexy or exciting or, you don't get that big thrill every time you're down a quarter pound or you've maintained your weight. That's not really exciting. And I think we live in a world where
speaking of movies, yeah.
Speaking of movies, where we feel like there's got to be some adventure or, big challenge or, an upset to make it interesting. And really what this whole last 7 years have been about are non-sensational changes in our life. It's like Catherine added some cabbage. Woo! Like,
right.
Oh,
right. Donald figured out that he could add mushrooms and onions to things to pump up the volume.
Wow. And that's not super exciting. And when we want our health journeys to be exciting, sometimes we create drama. A very good friend of mine actually suggested that sometimes I might gain weight just so that I have something to do and focus on. Because once you hit that, the rings are in Mordor. No, where do they go? Mount Okmok?
Mount Okmok, right.
No, which is a non-active volcano in Alaska. Where do they go? Mount
Mordor, yeah.
But isn't it Mount Doom?
Yeah, Mount Doom.
Okay.
Mordor, yeah.
But like, okay, you got you got the end, you got, your parents got married and you're back in your DeLorean and everything's fine. Like, you think that is the end of the story. And sure, there were dozens of times where I thought, okay, I've hit my goal weight, I'm done. And, I would high five myself and then go to the food court at the mall and eat all the food in celebration, and then get back right on that cycle of gaining and losing and being defeated. And that was a big drama. And part of the health journey is switching maybe genres when you're thinking about your health. And it's not a drama. It's not a thriller. It's about investing in your future self. And like Donald said, in the past, I would have said, if Donald had said, "Hey, Catherine, what is your goal?" I would say, "My goal is this weight." Here.
That's how I talk. "Hey, Catherine, what is your goal?"
I want to lose 50 pounds. That is my goal. That isn't about my lifestyle. That is, okay, well, in the short run, I could be bitten by a shark if I was lucky. And then I would be down 50 pounds.
Right.
And that goalpost keeps...
that lucky shark bite.
That lucky shark bite. But Donald's talked about it before, how the goalposts move when you hit a milestone, and that some depression can come in when you get to that milestone and your life isn't very much different. Like, being at goal weight, still had the same job, still had the same friends. Like, sure, I bought some new clothes, which was great. But 5 years in, like, people aren't complimenting you all the time on your weight loss. Like, life just kind of goes back to normal. And if we keep seeking validation from the number on the scale, that's not where the real magic is. The real magic is becoming a person who has a delightful life and doesn't see life as a slog.
Yeah, and look, I will link to in the show notes, but we did a couple of deep dives on this topic. We did an episode, number 219, called The Born Identity, about working towards changing your identity rather than just going through the in air quotes, slog of a diet. And then also weight expectations, episode 229, which was more about not trying to lose weight on a deadline and trying to do this for the rest of your life. And part of getting out of this idea that you're sort of stuck in the middle is going from the idea of trying to finish a plan to developing a lifestyle goal. And part of making that enjoyable and fun is really dreaming about what you want your life to look like.
Yeah.
What do you want to be able to do? What do you want to be able to do in the future that maybe you can't do now? Or what do you want to be able to keep doing? Like, what will be freeing to you when you actually, hit and maintain health and fitness goals?
Right. There was a podcast that I mentioned a long while ago called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And I thought it was some like scam, pyramid scheme. But what the topic actually is not just thinking about having a goal of like, I want to be a millionaire, is what does your life look like? What travel are you doing? What are you investing your time and your money in? And part of looking at investing into a rich life with your weight as the focus, like Donald said, is it's not just, I want to be 150 pounds. What I want is better boundaries with people in my life,
Yeah.
better boundaries with food, enjoying the foods that I love, being active and outgoing, being able to move around without feeling like I have no energy. Those are the end lifestyle achievements that I want, and I want to live in. It's not about getting to the number, because I've been at the number. And sure, you get like a super high at first. Sorry if I'm spoiling everything, but really it's that, oh my gosh, I'm not winded when I go upstairs. I'm not afraid to go on walks with people because I can never keep up and I'm out of breath. It feels really good to go to the doctor's office and have them be satisfied and like, oh, all your health metrics are great. Like, keep it up. That feels really good. And when we start investing in our identities, like Donald was saying, that's where it turns in from a slog to an odyssey peregrination.
Absolutely. And I think that, I think part of the sort of question behind this question from Megan is that, you have to find ways to really make this more interesting and fun for yourself. And it may sound, a little bit weird, but part of what makes things interesting and fun to me is I sort of say to myself, well, okay, so I've done this. What can I do next?
Yeah.
What challenge can I give myself next? What way can I help myself to grow and change? And I didn't think about any of that when I started this particular, 7 years ago, plan, journventure, odyssey, peregrination. I all I wanted to do was lose weight back then. And I had that same idea, but I learned over time that the way to do this so that it stays off and really sticks is to think about it as a journey to become a different person and to really think about that kind of person I want to be. And that makes it more interesting and fun and challenging and exciting to me than just the idea of well, I'm going to track calories every day.
Exactly. So in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, he really focuses on going from an outcome-based goal, like I want to lose 50 pounds, to an identity-based view of living. So sure, if we want to lose 50 pounds, we can put a process in place to do that. Okay, I'll track calories, I'll exercise, I'll drink water, I'll pump up the volume. Those are part of just like the external process of getting it done. But when you identify at your core, in the middle, if you will, the creamy, delicious center.
Oh my goodness. I love delicious, creamy centers of things.
I do too. But at our core, when we look at that identity focus, who is the person you're working on becoming? And what does that person do? What does a confident person do? What does an active person do? What does a person who is focusing on having a healthier relationship with food do? That is the lifelong journey that we're looking at, not just the number on the scale.
And also sort of paraphrasing some ideas from some other ideas from James Clear and from BJ Fogg, setting a deadline for weight loss is not a plan. Putting your habits in place one at a time is like actually saying like on this day at this time, I intend to do this thing and actually doing it and doing that over and over. So, and just like with the tortoise and the hare, it's really slow and steady that wins this race. And also, it's not a race and there is no finish line. It is a long-term lifestyle change. And it wasn't until I realized that I was able to make it happen.
Well, and we really have done a lot of episodes. We've talked about, do you see your weight loss or your health as a 9 to 5 clock in, clock out? It's something that you've got to do to make money, or is it something that you're actually invested in 24/7? And we're not saying you have to actively think about it 24/7, but really like folding our habits into our complete life has changed the way we look at all this. And whether we have a setback or we're up on the scale after the holidays, we still identify as active people. It's not, well, I blew it, it's over, I'm just going to go back to the Shire and chill out. I don't know what people do in the shower. I think they just eat stuff.
The shower or the Shire?
The Shire. Did I say the shower?
You said the shower.
I don't know what people do in the shower.
Yeah, I don't know what people do in the Shire.
I thought I was in the shower.
I don't know what chilling in the Shire looks like. I don't know. It seemed like there was lots of like smoking pipes and farming.
Right. But those daily investments matter. When we say that there is no finish line, that doesn't mean that habit by habit, decision by decision, and mindset by mindset, we're not investing in the lifestyle that we are creating in ourselves. And again, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have setbacks and, go back into, bring us here and there into old habits. But I know I feel my best when I'm taking care of my body, when I'm investing in my boundaries with food and with people. So for Megan, the questions I might ask yourself are, what is making this feel like a slog? Are you eating foods that you don't like? Are you doing exercises that you don't like? What could you change to make it more enjoyable? We have many episodes, I don't even know, 200 and something episodes of the podcast where we talk about mindset, and that doing things that you like in weight loss is what you're going to be doing in maintenance. It doesn't change that much. But if you're in a situation where you hate the food that you're eating, you hate the exercise that you're doing, then maintenance isn't going to be any different.
Yeah, and I think that what Catherine just said is really the core issue, of not making this feel like a slog is I thought that the only way I could lose weight was to cut out any foods that I enjoyed, and that the only way was to do exercises that I hate and do them over and over again. And it wasn't until I realized that I not only should, but had to incorporate foods I really enjoyed and liked into my life, and made exercise things that I, if not liked, at least didn't hate, that would allow me to keep doing them over and over again. And part of that too is that I don't do exactly the same things I did 5 years ago. I've talked about like do something that you can do for the rest of your life, but that doesn't mean you have to do exactly that for the rest of your life. I change up foods. I bring variety into my life. I change up exercises and bring variety into my life. Sometimes it's straight up walking. Sometimes it's rebounding. Sometimes it's walking up and down the stairs. Like it all is just about getting more movement. But I try and make it a variety so I don't get bored and tired of it.
Yeah. And I think, for me, looking back at what felt like a slog to what I feel now, a slog was being over-disciplined about Weight Watchers and being angry and hungry all the time. It was about having shame about getting on the scale. It was about just doing what my trainer told me to do, even though I hated every second of it. That felt like a slog. It felt like punishment. And it felt like,
absolutely
what I deserved for being overweight. This time, I viewed it as, what can I invest in? What feels good? How can I move forward? And if something isn't working, how can I pivot to make it more enjoyable? And once we change the vocabulary around our choices and understand that it is our responsibility to write the narrative of our futures and take responsibility for all of it, the power structure changes. The ring has no power over you. The lightsaber is wielded by the Jedi, or I don't know. That wasn't really
The DeLorean is driven by the Jedi.
Yeah.
No. Now I'm very confused.
Exactly. But if you're seeing this as a toil and a trudge and gotta buckle down and get it done, what would feel better to you? What would make you feel like you woke up in the morning saying like, wow, I'm enjoying this. This is the kind of life that I actually wanted. And maybe you don't know what that is yet, but that gives you the opportunity to test things out, whether it's a lightsaber or a Hobbit stick. The Hobbits have sticks, don't they?
Sure, absolutely.
But one of the quotes that I saw in researching this, in looking at the hero's journey, kind of the story arc of, the kid from the small town who then becomes, the hero of and strikes down the Empire in The Empire Strikes Back. No, I guess that wasn't the name of the movie.
No one struck the Empire down in that movie.
But so here's the quote: "A fear of death turns into the freedom to live." Fearing weight gain, fearing, getting old and not being able to do things, living from a place of fear and avoidance isn't the same as embracing life and making purposeful changes. Sure, Donald and I live where we lived. We've got the family that we had before, the, different trials. But in the end.
And tribulations.
Yeah. But now we're on a journventure, not, a drudge and a just get through it. And, we can't go visit friends because we're dieting and we're not I can't make cabbage soup in the car, so we're not going to go on vacation. Now we understand that a predominance of healthy choices and choices that fall in alignment with the people that we are working on becoming matters more than a weekend away or slipping back into old habits for a few days. We are moving forward, and I know you have it in you to change your language around the journey. Move away from the slog. What would make it feel like a quest or an odyssey? Like, how could you just look at the back of any car. How could it feel like an expedition and a romp?
Oh, wow.
No, but really, there's a trek. There's an odyssey. There's an expedition. So they're they're running out of names for cars.
Yeah, they the naming people just pull up the synonym dictionary.
Exactly. But what would make
the rhyming dictionary? Why did I say that?
I don't know. I think there are rhyming dictionaries.
No, there are. I just don't know why car naming people would use a rhyming dictionary.
But so how could you make small shifts to make it feel better? What could you add to your journventure to make it more exciting? And finally, what other parts of your life might you want to explore that actually deserve excitement and intrigue? Do you want to take a continuing education class?
Yeah.
Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to volunteer? The more we grow our interests and habits, the better our lives become. We are not just here to lose weight and, check in with Fitbit. We're here to live rich lives, but it is our responsibility to work on making that for ourselves. No one is, Gandalf isn't going to come down, or, a DeLorean isn't going to come down from the sky and take you on your next adventure.
Gandalf and a Jedi come down in a DeLorean from the sky, and
Doc
Darth Vader cuts their hands off for some reason.
And riding down the street. But make your own adventure.
I love you so much right now that you knew Gandalf's horse was named Shadowfax. That's really hot.
Aw, thanks. I'm blushing. But make your own adventure. Make it something that you enjoy, just like you enjoy listening to this podcast.
You stole that's usually my thing to do at the end. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this podcast. One investment that you can make in yourself is listening to this podcast.
You did it.
We really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Megan, for the question on Instagram. We are grateful. Hopefully this episode helped. Not only have you made it through the beginning and middle, you've now made it to the end of this episode.
Delicious
there may not be
center.
a finish line, but there is a finish to this episode. But the episodes of this show will never end. We'll keep doing them every week. So keep on listening. And you can find all of our episodes wherever you found this one. We're available. Every single episode way back from episode 1 are all still available wherever you find podcasts, and also on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep. And if you would like some extra accountability and fun on your journventure, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about WOLT Place. WOLT Place, We Only Look Thin Place, is a Facebook-based accountability group for women. It really is just being part of big group, going in the same direction, on the same quest, doing different things to get the health journey on its way. We have people doing Weight Watchers, intuitive eating, calorie tracking, so many different plans. We're not there to judge one another, but we are there to cheer one another on. And if you would love some support on that journey, you can check it out. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial, trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if WOLT Place is right for you.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. I really thought for a second there you were going to say to get your health and fitness journey over with, and that we would have to re-record the entire episode.
No, but like back in the day, I would be like, all right, I'm done, I'm good. I would go to Weight Watcher meetings and wonder why the people who had hit maintenance even show up.
Why were they
I'm
still
like,
there? Yeah.
Run free. You should be getting deep dish pizza right now. What is happening? I honestly had no clue.
And that was the problem.
And that was the problem. But I need support. We've got people in all different phases of their journey ventures, people who are just getting started, and others who have been maintaining for over 7 years, 8 years.
Absolutely. And if you want to interact with us in other ways, like Megan did, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at We Only Look Thin. And I don't see why you couldn't find these posts on our Instagram and Facebook and give us your own episode ideas and topics if you would like. Or you could send us an email with episode ideas, topics, questions to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We've taken many listener emails and turned them into episodes of this show. We've also answered many questions behind the scenes. Movies have behind the scenes, and so does our podcast. You can also just say hi or give us a compliment. We appreciate those sort of emails as well.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes and can head over to Apple Podcast, leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it help us know that what we're doing is making a difference, we read every single one and we wish we could individually comment on them, but darn, Apple won't let us do it.
Yeah.
But not only does it let us know that what we're doing matters, but it also helps other people find our podcast when they are looking for confusing movie reference podcasts like ours.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something to say, it could just be something like 5 stars, the best podcast since The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And people will understand what you mean. And if you would like to just tell somebody about the show, if you're talking about Gandalf and Doc Brown from the DeLorean with Darth Vader, and you just want to compare something to it, give us a shout out. If you know somebody who might get something out of this show, we would appreciate you giving word of mouth. People really trust your opinion on things. And if you're in a Facebook group, a Discord server, a Reddit group, and the opportunity presents itself, we would be grateful for a shout out. Word of mouth is one of the best ways in which this show grows.
Yep. So if you wish that this episode was actually called The Empire Strikes Back to the Future 2, just remember that Donald, Megan, and I are all on a health and fitness peregrination.
Asian. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.